Please make very welcome the wonderful Kate Holden.
Very nice to see you all. Thank you for coming in on your lunch break. I'm here to talk today about women. Now, I love women. I am a woman. I'm a feminist. I believe in the sisterhood. I've loved and been loved by women all my life. I read women's books. I adore women's friends, my women friends. I've even worked with women. Women hold up the world. Women are wonderful. But women can also be, let's see, how is it usually put? Bitches. There we go. Women can be bitches. Thank you. It's been great doing this talk. Thank you all for coming. No, we know women can be bitches, famously so, traditionally so. But what I'm interested in is why women are bitches not just to men, but to each other. Not you, of course, dear ladies in the audience. Never you. Now, I have always been very lucky with my experience of other women and did not get beaten up at school, oh, that's better, whacked at hockey, dacked at uni, evilled by aunties, or scraped by the loving fingernails of my girlfriends. I'm not talking about the fully operatic, knife-wielding maniac bitchery that makes good soap on TV. But I have entered some of the most hostile zones known to humanity, the women's changing room at a certain South Yarra gym, for example. And this is where you're allowed to start all hating me. I myself have, thought unkind things about other women. An example, I saw an overweight woman eating an ice cream and I disapproved. Another example, I saw a schoolgirl with great legs and a very short skirt and I tutted. A third example, I am a smug yoga bitch, and when I am better in my yoga class than the woman next to me, I feel a supreme sense of excellence that has little to do with my ability to do a chaturanga dandasana and more to do with the fact that hopefully I am making her feel bad. Now, let me admit the stupid things that are going on in my head, even if I don't realise it at the time. In the first of these, I guess I felt that the woman was letting herself down, or that she was getting away with something. Unacceptable. How dare she eat ice cream? In the second, the schoolgirl, I was concerned for her privacy, envious of her legs, and prudishly shocked at the young people and what they get up to when in my day it was all leg warmers and sensible home-knitted corduroy trousers. And in the third, I am pointlessly competing for physical prowess and domination by trying to touch my nose to my pancreas. It'll never happen. Now, all of these are useless and petty criticisms, which suggest that I am threatened by other women's choices, obsessively comparing myself with other women all the time, and capable of making lightning judgments about other people's business. For God's sake, why? Now, I can't pretend to have any great theory about why it is that women are so mean, and today's talk will not solve my bitchiness or mollify yours. Sorry, not yours. But I would like to have a think aloud about why we do this to each other, when really we have so much in common and quite enough crap going on in life without bringing each other down all the time. My theory, which is not really so new, is that we compete to fulfill ideas of what modern women are. We do this by judging others because we are constantly judging ourselves. And this perpetual rating of ourselves against others makes for friction which, like the competitive mania inside us, we interiorise and yet emit like secret farts. The odour of our discontent floats around, even if no one wants to admit it came from them. I should say at the outset that no doubt men have a similar set of issues, all that buffy rivalry and tedious braggadocio and knifing each other in fast food outlets. But to be honest, I am bloody sick of men and their problems. I've spent far too much time on men's feelings already in my life. Guys, you can just sort yourselves out. So, let's see. Women have come a long way. We no longer have to compete for a very small number of jobs as teachers and nurses and governesses. We don't have to rely on men for our money. Our ribs are free from corsets and our feet are not bound, so we can walk. We have women in some of the top jobs in the world. We have contraception, so we're free to make choices about childbearing, and we can order porn online. Not you, of course, dear ladies. This is a golden age for women, especially in the Western world, and it's simply ungrateful to harp on about the small few things that are still not quite perfect. In fact, how womanly to be a perfectionist. How uptight. There are just a few things that make me an uppity perfectionist and give me pause for thought in the midst of this idyll. Women might be in top jobs, but there are only a few of them and we still earn only 84% of what men earn. Women might have great choice in contraception, but it's still our problem to find the contraception. Women still get pregnant when they don't want to, and they still do the majority of housework, and they still get bashed around, and they still get called sluts as they walk down the street, even as happened to me a while ago, when looking as sexually attractive as a truckie and as grimly unwinsome as a pterodactyl. I could go on about all the things that are still stuffed for women, but anyway. Let's talk about the women like me, and yes, like you, who are pretty well off. Who are sleek, modern, enfranchised, educated and self-possessed young maidens, the type that might 100 years ago have been called impertinent misses. Now, I thought I was a pretty cool customer as a woman until I went to Italy a few years ago. There I was, strolling down the Via del Corso, minding my own business and marvelling at how fantastically ugly the clothes are in the Italian version of Supre, when I was clouted aside by someone. I nearly went under a car. I was nearly killed. And this was because I had committed the incredible crime of walking where someone more beautiful than I wanted to walk. You've never seen female competition in action until you've met a 23-year-old Roman girl out shopping. The hauteur, the wide mascara-eyed incredulity that you have the temerity to get into her eyeline, the absolutely psychotic obsession with appearance, and the totalitarian certainty that a beautiful woman, and by this I mean anorexic and clad head to toe in leopard skin print leather, has rights and privileges over every other woman. It isn't simply competition for men, although Italian women seem to take this frivolity quite seriously, but a delight in asserting that some women are better than others. And there's a kick in the shin with a €500 pair of high heels to make the point. I don't believe that women are always competing for men's attention. That's a boring and hoary, dare I say, that's H-O-R-A-R-Y, old way of doing things. No doubt we, and I've been guilty of this, sometimes laugh a little more heartily at a man's joke. Sometimes we tighten our buttocks as we walk past a cafe table full of young bucks. Sometimes we still act dumber than we are to make some man feel better about himself. But what I'm really interested in is the way that the enforcing and policing of women's competition has been interiorised. We don't need men to make us competitive anymore, though they do, through owning women's magazines and producing crap misogynistic TV and enabling a lot of patronising behaviour to smart women that we put up with. No, we can do it all ourselves. When my first book came out, it concerned my time as a prostitute. I didn't expect everyone to understand that some of my experiences were positive, though many reviewers and readers got it. But most of the few reviews that took me to task for being either an uncontrollably noxious slut or a woman too oppressed by the patriarchy to notice that I had been exploited and victimised, that's the point I was trying to make in the book, that I had made all my own choices and was responsible for how they played out. Most of these reviews were by women. Through criticism of my book, I encountered a strange little ploy of the feminism that I love so much, which is the concept of false consciousness. It says that women are too enclosed in patriarchal assumptions to know when they're being rorted. So if I say that I liked some things about being a hooker, I'm an idiot, and my word can't be trusted. This by a female academic who has never herself been a sex worker. Apparently she knows better than I do what my experience was, and she could loftily discount any of the subtle points I was trying to make about the complexity of something like sex work. It infuriates me. But I think sometimes I make the same error of arrogance. How have I, who hates being judged, become so judgmental of my fellow women? How do I dare assume that what goes for me should go for everyone else and resent them when it doesn't? Because I have to work damn hard all the time to be the kind of woman I think I'm expected to be. And I get extremely irritated when other women are either better at it than I am or not, as I unwittingly see it, pulling their weight too. There was an interview in The Age recently with a woman called Charla Krupp, who teaches women how to look thinner without losing weight. I think it's all to do with support underwear and wearing yellow. Charla Krupp, Charla Krupp, when asked why women needed her book and men didn't, said, "Women need to stay in the game as long as we can so we don't turn invisible." When asked what was wrong with just being comfortable and not worrying about how you look, she said, "Go ahead and do that. Everybody else is going to look better than you." We live in a very competitive society. If you want to be employed, if you want to hold on to the relationships in your life, you have to look good. Nothing we don't already know. You are what you look like. You have to make an effort, and basically what Charla isn't saying, you have to look like you've made an effort. You have to work hard. And what I see when I look at a woman who's perfectly groomed with fine eyebrows, who's got tight, hard deltoids and a perky bum and is wearing very high heels and has immaculately smooth legs and an expensive handbag, is that she has worked very hard indeed. She's spent hours and hours on that look. She's paid money for it. She is playing as hard as she can the game of looking like a successfully acceptable woman. The problem, as I see it, is not just that there are multiple looks for successful women, that there are so many and that each is rigorously enforced. It is also that with so many roles a woman is meant to fill, we have to be so good at all of them and show it. It's the effort that's rewarded as much as the outcome. And as a female friend of mine suggested, yes, I give her credit, I'm not so competitive as to steal her thought. What we resent in other women is that they either outperform us or underperform us. How dare they? I'm a 38-year-old professional writer. Most of my life I sit at home in my jeans and slippers, mumbling to the cat and occasionally glancing in a mirror to notice with passing amazement that since I last checked, my eyebrows have grown down past my chin. But I also have to go out into the world, frock up and do a talk like this. I have to look cool as I walk down the street. I have to be sexually attractive. I have to be fit and strong. I have to be a bold, brave feminist, an intelligent commentator. I have to be an amusing friend. I have to be a supportive daughter. There is an effort of a kind involved in all of these. So I rank myself against other women by judging how well they do it and my own shortcomings. I sit at tram stops and make mental lists of envy. I wish I had a group of friends to laugh in the sun with. She's popular. I wish I had a car so I could buy in bulk from the supermarket. She's organised. I wish I had long hair like that. She's got great shampoo. I wish I had that girl's bum. I wish I was better at writing op-ed pieces. I wish I could wear clothes that revealing. I wish I was a real woman, like all the women around me. What the fuck am I thinking? Now, new roles to excel at spring at you all the time. Last year, I was asked to take part in a feature in a magazine about women and their attitudes to their bodies. It involved an interview and a photo shoot. A nude photo shoot. It took me about 3 minutes to answer yes, because I was feeling pretty sprightly at the time, having done lots of yoga lately, much better than the silly moo next to me, and wanted to show it off. A nice picture to show my grandkids. But then panic set in. I was all prepared to wax lyrical about accepting your body and loving yourself just the way you are and all that. That's what I knew I was meant to say. But in reality, as the date for the shoot grew closer, I booked appointments. Never mind waxing lyrical, I got a leg wax. I got a haircut, I got a facial. I went to the gym every day and pumped weights in my room in between. I inspected every centimetre of my poor writer's body and tried to imagine what the great public would make of it. I didn't know if I could go through with exposing it all after all. I'm not used to having to be so, well, I'm trying to think of a word that isn't virtuous or conscientious or goodly or righteous. All those value words we use about exercise and grooming and making ourselves look good and being a good girl. At the shoot, I was manicured, my hair was glued with spray, makeup was dappled on me, I was slathered in moisturiser to make my skin gleam and told how to pose. I spent the 10 minutes of the shoot simultaneously trying to keep my toes pointed, my tummy sucked in, my face relaxed, and my entire body from slipping lubricated with Nivea off the chair. The pictures were lightly photoshopped in post-production. When the magazine came out, I didn't know which role I was meant to fill. Was I the proud exponent of women's body love? Was I a sultry kitten looking sexy on a chair a la Christine Keeler? Was I too sexual, since naked? Had I made a fool of myself? Was I proud of this or not? What had I done? I told all my female friends about it and hinted ambiguously to my male friends. Because I wanted my female friends to admire my body. I wanted them to admire my courage and my deltoids, sadly obscured by the pose. It was sisterly sharing, but I suspect it was also competitive. And I wanted their approval. I wanted them to tell me that in our ranks, I was looking pretty good. As it happened, all my girlfriends were very sweet and said my feet looked nice. At least they said my feet looked nice. The whole thing was very confusing, and it was only months later that I remembered the entire point of the exercise was to leave aside anxieties about my physicality and comparing myself to other women and just be comfortable in my skin. Simpler said than done. So, after all the angsting that writhes away on our insides, Then we have to deal with all the external crap about who we should be and what we should be doing. I'm in my late 30s, as I said, and I think that in these days, this is one of the more compressive periods of a woman's life. Choices narrow and are more definitive. Children or none, marriage or not. For every choice we make, there is a sacrifice, a larger, more portentous sacrifice than the ones that we made earlier in life. So whatever we do, someone else is doing the other, and it's hard not to resent that. I mean, who do they think they are? I can work myself into a raving fury about women who have children, and 10 minutes later work myself into a further fury when a friend assumes that I mean I don't want children myself. Our positions on these matters are more manifest, more public, and more heavily questioned than we are used to. Suddenly it seems that just as I reach a stage in life where I am more comfortable with myself than I have ever been, my identity as a woman is interrogated all over again, and this time it's serious. No longer is it a private little frivolity if you want to have multiple partners or none, have 15 children or none, spend your time travelling the world or waxing your whole hoochie. Your friends, your family, your government want to know. Feminists have attitudes about it, non-feminists have attitudes about it. You have a million attitudes about it, and it's like musical chairs. You're suddenly at the defining moment of your life and you never even heard the music stop. I hate the women who have made their choices. I hate their choices, and I hate that they fronted up to the choice. I hate other women who, like me, who don't know how to choose, and I hate that I have to choose. All in all, I'm quite cranky. But, of course, I don't hate women. I am in awe of them. Women cope with all the pressure I've been moaning on about, and still manage to like each other. Women actually manage to navigate the awful waters of competition and coercion, and are friends and lovers to each other. Don't mind me gnashing my teeth in the corner. It's only because I love my women. I want to love them better. We, yes you, dear ladies, have so much more in common than our competitiveness. Let it be a comfort, not a condemnation. Ladies and gentlemen, let us try harder not to try so hard. Thank you very much.